Nothing to keep you warm like a warm cup of coffee, and we hope you're staying warm today in Denver, Colorado. DMAC hosts the drive on coffee break here from 2 to 6 p.m. every single day. Jake Shapiro filling in for Rachel Vigil once more, and I'm trying to stay warm. And I know, DMAC, you're probably itching to get up the hills right now, being the avid skier you are. You see a little powder on the ground, you're just running for the boots, huh?
I was there on Saturday at Loveland, and we knew the snow was coming in today, and Loveland was opening a bunch of new terrain. This is awful to drive in, so I wouldn't want this, but yeah, when this clears, I'll be there. And no, I absolutely love it. There's no bad season in Colorado, but personally, I am a winter Colorado guy first.
And winter is certainly a good sports season as well. And I know you've been busy. You'll probably be at the Avs game tonight. You were I guess on the road, so you won't be at the Avs game tonight. That would be miraculous if you ended up at the Avs game tonight. But you were at the Nuggets game last night.
Yes.
I'll talk a little Nuggets with you in a second. But I did want to start the show with a little happy birthday wish to Russell Wilson, who turned 34 years old today. Zach Bye, who will be on the show in just a little bit, asked, it's Russell Wilson's 34th birthday today. If you could get him one thing, DMAC, what would it be?
I would get him. See, I'm trying to take this a little bit seriously, Jake. I would get Russell Wilson some perspective. And until he realizes and has a deeper understanding of what he needs to become rather than what he's been, I doubt he'll move forward. I think he'll just keep falling back. So I think a lot of things that have worked for Russ in the past need to evolve, change, and some just be eliminated. So that's perspective. One of the memories that I have in terms of an athlete just sort of sticking with it was Peyton Manning, who was put in a new offensive system in his final year with the Broncos. And Gary Kubiak wanted to put him under center, and they compromised with the pistol. But Peyton Manning actually had to sort of accept certain things if he still wanted to play and wanted to win. He did. He eventually accepted it, even though it wasn't the way he had done it or was used to doing it. And he ended up a poor statistical year, a year that he was injured for a good chunk of it. But it did end up winning the Broncos a championship that he was a big part of. Perspective is a hard thing, Jake. A lot of us are missing it on a daily basis. Again, I'm going a little bit too deep because I could throw Russell Wilson in just, a ski pass to Loveland, which I think would be fun too. But in terms of what he has to do to move forward, he's got to do things in a different way, not work harder. It's not about waking up earlier. It's not about sleeping less. It's about doing things differently.
Yeah, DMAC, my answer for what I'd get him for his 34th birthday is a little bit more simple than you. I'd get him a better offensive line. His offensive line has been lackluster this year. We've seen the injuries there. So maybe just health towards the already what Denver has.
Yeah, but Jake, these problems were present even with the healthy offensive line. I understand what you're saying. And for those who just want to make the argument, listen, a lot of things would be better and more successful if they weren't going through those injuries. Hey, listen, I get it. I feel you. The loss of Garrett Bowles is significant. Lloyd Cushenberry's been out. You haven't really had a steady right tackle. Dalton Reisner's, I think, been dealing with a back injury the whole year. No, hey, Jake, I totally get it. Quinn Miner's missed some time. It's been rough. So, I'd give him back Tim Patrick and Javonte Williams and other elements. I'd give him back all the fumbles from Melvin Gordon. I give him back the drop passes, like Cortland Sutton dropped one in the end zone the other day. I mean, listen, if you want to make the argument it's not all Russ's fault, I'm there for you. But unless he gains a different perspective on just who he needs to be and how to go about things, Jake, it's not going to matter.
We actually have the perfect person about to join us. Connor Orr from Sports Illustrated actually wrote a whole story on this yesterday in SI about Russell Wilson and his perspective. Connor, thanks for joining the show first off. And second off, kind of give us a little, brief recap of your piece and your takeaways.
Well, I think, I wrote something kind of similar after the Colts game, but I think this is sort of a broader picture of, you just hear talk of getting rid of Nathaniel Hackett kind of reaching a crescendo. And my thought process here, and just kind of gauging some other people, taking some temperature with some people around the league is, okay, fire Nathaniel Hackett. And then you're still left with Russell Wilson and that gargantuan contract. And I don't think that there are a great deal of people who are lining up to take this job. And yes, every job there are roses with thorns. There are things that you don't like about a job, but I would argue that an established, expensive veteran quarterback that is immovable is harder to come and coach than, like, say, if you're inheriting Davis Mills or Daniel Jones or something like that. So if you're a first-time head coach, if you're the hot coordinator like Nathaniel Hackett was, you're looking around here and saying, I don't know. I mean, he doesn't play in the structure that, he has the Russell Wilson offense, but it doesn't work anymore. He's not the same player that it used to be, and people have already figured out how to stop it, more or less. And so if he's not going to play in the structure that I want him to play in, and he just kind of wants to run this broken thing or try to reinvent himself into a less effective version of himself, I'm not signing up for that. So I understand the Hackett side of it. I'm encouraging people to look at the fact that there could be a broader issue at hand here.
Well, Connor, money and power, my man, tend to be the bottom line. And I've heard this argument: who would want this job? And listen, if money and power are equal, with another opportunity, I feel you, no doubt about it. But we do have the power with our richest owner in all of the NFL to overcome those particular obstacles. I think that's essentially what it will come down to. And I do wonder, and I'm curious from your perspective, well, how many jobs will be open? I mean, who are we talking about? What's the level of competition for coaching jobs this year?
I talked to someone the other day who, I was joking about it, and I said, I think this is going to be a light year, right?
Yeah, right.
I was saying this back in, let's say, like right before Halloween. And then, I pitched that to somebody and they said, watch me get to 10 names in 10 seconds, 10 teams in 10 seconds. And they were able to make a case for that. Now, I don't know if that's true, but I think we're probably, like every year, going to end up landing somewhere in the 6 to 8 range, like we always do. Even though I thought going into this year, there was no chance we were going to get there. I could see us getting there. If you asked me at the beginning of the year, are the Texans going to fire 2 coaches in a row after one season amid a diversity hiring scandal? I would say absolutely not.
Right.
I don't know if I can say that with any certainty at this point, so I think there's crazier stuff that's going to happen everywhere. I think the competition is going to be robust. And I would add to that, unless you're looking for a defensive coordinator and that roster is deep and there's a lot of good experienced coaches, if you're looking for the next offensive guy, you're one of, there's probably 3 guys, I think, that are hireable at this point.
Well, let me just throw this out there. In terms of coaching hires, and boy, we're really just burying Nathaniel Hackett right now, aren't we? And we are. Coaches tend to be the exact opposite of who they're replacing. So I would make the argument for the Broncos this time around. I see them going for somebody who's not calling plays offensively or defensively. I'm seeing somebody who has previous head coaching experience, because that would be the turn. And I don't know if the Broncos would even be looking at a upcoming coordinator. So, I mean, when the Broncos hired John Fox back in the day, it feels like that's the direction they're about to go. I think a lot of teams would prefer Sean Payton. I think if they could get Sean Payton, I think a lot of teams would move on from coaches they more normally wouldn't move on. And I'm going to bet the Broncos are going to be in that sweepstakes. So to prove your point, Connor, there you go. There's a guy who may just turn the job down flat out because the Broncos are not wanted. I know you'd have to trade for him, but not want to be part of that just because I don't like the ingredients in the kitchen.
Yeah, Sean Payton is one. I think he's certainly got a short list. it wouldn't surprise me if he was hoping, the Chargers job would open up among other places. I think that there are some spots that he likes, weather, quarterback, all that kind of stuff. And, those were two, I forget when he did an interview at the beginning of the season, and it's stuff that you continue to hear now, right? Is weather, locale, quarterback. And I love Denver, but they have, none of those things, right? Like,
well, I heard this, Connor. Maybe you can confirm it. I just heard this yesterday. He's building a house in Malibu that's going to be absurdly close to where the Chargers are going to have their new facility. I just heard. Yeah, see, I don't know. I was looking maybe for some confirmation there. As much as I love Colorado, and I love Colorado, I'm building a mansion in Malibu. I'm going to work 2 miles away.
Sounds pretty nice. But yeah, I think with Denver, right, you have to look at the situation as I'm either an up-and-coming offensive coordinator or defensive coordinator's first shot, or I am a second chance head coach's second shot, right? And so you're looking at that list of potential candidates and you're saying, okay, Dan Quinn is probably high on that list. He was high on that list last year. He knows everybody in Seattle. He knows Russell. Is he going to, that to me is a really interesting, and again, we're getting far ahead of ourselves. I still think there's a chance Nathaniel Hackett keeps his job. But that's kind of my thought process. I think we might be seeing a needle shift here at some point, but somebody like Dan Quinn comes in and says, okay, I've been there. I've done that. That's a bellwether move right there. If he doesn't interview for that job, I think a lot of other people wouldn't interview for that job either.
As the guy who's had the story pre-written, Nathaniel Hackett fired for several weeks now, I can tell you it feels like the needle's certainly gone all the way that direction. But Connor, in maybe 5 years, 10 years down the line, I think we'll be looking at this and saying the biggest miss in this coaching hire cycle and maybe the next one for the Broncos is the fact they didn't get Mike McDaniel, who is a Colorado guy with a ton of Broncos ties.
I think that's true. I also think it's all where you land, right? Like Mike McDaniel landed in a situation where the owner was prepared to go get Tyreek Hill to trade for Bradley Chubb at the deadline. Yes, his system is great. He's brilliant. I think there's no doubt about that. Would we be saying some of the similar things that we're saying about Nathaniel Hackett about Mike McDaniel right now if Mike McDaniel ended up in Denver? Possibly. We just don't know. I mean, I think that there was a lot of broken stuff here that the head coach is wearing around his neck. And I don't think that other coaches have had to deal with that. Mike McDaniel arrived following a scandal. It's a complete blank slate with the quarterback who absolutely adores him and will do anything that he asks him to do and is begging to run and is begging to, do different things within the offense. And you have Tyreek Hill. So I think that it's a different dynamic. But Mike McDaniel's been on my head coaching list for 4 years now, and I don't know why it took him that long to get hired.
Connor, I'll let you run. Make sure you read his piece in Sports Illustrated. Thanks for joining us. Probably have you back again if maybe there's another coaching hiring cycle, which we're all expecting. So thanks again, Connor.
All right. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah. And joining us now is our guys, Brandon Stokely and Zach Bye, with Santa's little helpers, a little naughty and nice. You guys made it into work okay, I'm seeing. That's good because it is snowy outside, and I'm going to go naughty on the snow, guys.
Yeah, a little snow never hurt anybody. Stokely didn't take a Snokely day.
I made it. I'm here.
So
A Snokely day.
yeah,
It's real funny.
That's funny.
Stoke, I don't know, and maybe you'd ask Richie for me, but we were tied. We ended up tied, I think, 12 picks apiece in Pick'em this week. Do you know who won?
Tell me what your total points were.
I had 24-20 as the final in the game, or I had 24-20 and the game ended 24-17.
Yeah, you lost to me, buddy.
What did you got?
I did 23-17, so I'm 1 point off. So we're about to check on it. We're about to check on him. I might have my 3-peat. Bam, throw him up. 3.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe it, guys. What do you make of Russell Wilson's 34th birthday? I saw, Zach, you tweeted about this earlier today. What gifts would you give Russell Wilson, if you could give him any. I'll start with Stoke, and I want to know if, Zach, you've gotten any good comments on this.
What gift would I give him?
What gift would you give Russell Wilson?
Again? Is that, I mean, like high-level quarterback play? That's the gift that I would give Russell. That's what we need here more than anything. He's got to be better, because I don't believe there's any way that he is going to not be here for this year and then at least 2 more years. So if it doesn't get better, it's going to be misery like we've never seen around here. So it's got to get better. It's just got to.
I'm just checking this now because I've had a very busy morning. So I sent that tweet out when I was waiting for a Starbucks coffee.
No, you have not.
And
You've not been busy.
And I have been. And I just checked it now. It's got like 250 replies, and most are a new set of legs, LASIK surgery, make him 6'5". A gift would be a high school quarterback competency. I mean, it just, I kind of knew what I was getting myself into.
Oh, you knew.
But I just left it a blank slate and let everyone else do the work.
Dude, the funniest thing today are Zach's tweet is great. The Broncos wishing him a happy birthday, and then his own brand wishing him a happy birthday. That's like, me wishing myself a happy birthday. The funniest part are the replies. I mean, it's just like, why even bother with this? I mean, there's a couple of, hey, you're the man, but holy cow, like Zach is seeing, the replies are brutal. And the Broncos and Brand are kind of doing it to themselves.
Let me bring you guys back to the funniest birthday wish ever. When Vic Fangio wished Teddy Bridgewater a happy birthday, and Mike Kliss said it's Drew's birthday too, and he said it is.
Oh, okay.
Oh my God, man.
Let me turn the tides. Let's get a little happy here. Do you guys have anyone to nominate for your nice list? One of the roughest weeks of Broncos, so maybe it's something else. I don't know, Zach. Go ahead.
Yes, I have someone who's on the nice list. The Denver Broncos were the only team in professional football that did not have a rush for 20 yards. They cut Melvin Gordon, and in the very next game, Latavius Murray runs for 50-plus yards. Are you kidding me? 92 yards on the ground. Latavius Murray's on my nice list.
I like that one. I'm going to go Brandon Johnson. That's his name, right?
Yep.
Yeah, Brandon Johnson. Second game, dressing out and catches a touchdown. Good for him. He did a nice job in training camp. Young football player is getting an opportunity. Love to see him take advantage of it, and scored his first ever NFL touchdown.
Good one.
Guys, D-Mac and I talked about this yesterday, but I want to get your thoughts on this as well. A lot of rumors of Deion Sanders possibly going to CU. I think this would personally make CU football relevant, at least locally and possibly nationally again, just because of Deion Sanders attached to this. What are you guys feeling about this situation? Is it realistic? Is it a huge boon for Colorado football?
Well, I mean, look, obviously, yeah, I mean, it makes you nationally relevant again. I mean, that's what it does right away. I mean, Deion Sanders is a national name. And so, look, if you don't do something like this, if you're CU, you got no chance. You got no chance. I mean, because the way this thing is working nowadays with the transfer portal, et cetera, you got to have a coach, and you got to have a coach with a name. And so certainly Deion Sanders does that for you right away. And he can go anywhere. He can go down south and, where the best football is being played, all down south, Florida, Texas, Alabama, Louisiana, Mississippi, Georgia, and be able to recruit down there and get some talent over here. But also it makes CU relevant here again too, to keep the best players here. The best players don't stay here anymore in high school. They're going all over the place. You need to keep the best players in state, and I think he'd be able to do that. So it would be a grand slam hire for the Buffs.
Yeah, I agree with Stoke. I mean, this will the day that this breaks, wherever he goes, it'll be one of the biggest stories in sports, if not the biggest story that day. Colorado, it'll be a commercial for Colorado football. And like Stokes said, Deion has what they call a G pass. He can go into any hood. He'll go down to Texas. He can go to Southern California. He can go to Florida. I mean, this dude is like, Pitbull's like Mr. International. Like that's who Primetime is. And he's a brand unto itself. So for Colorado football, who's anonymous right now, flat out anonymous, to marry yourself with a brand like Primetime, man, it's almost like too good to be true. I just hope it is true. And I'll say this, I'll take it another step farther. I think it is true. I do think Deion Sanders is going to become the next coach of Colorado. I think he's building his staff right now. He's got the SWAC championship game this Saturday. And I think within 48 hours, maybe 24 hours after that, you will hear Deion Sanders has been named the coach of the CU Buffs.
Yeah, don't forget his son, who's only a sophomore, is the starting quarterback for Jackson. So he's going to come to Colorado, but he won't be the only one. Deion Sanders will bring 5 or 6 guys with him just right off the bat. You just got to be okay to understand if it goes well, he'll be here for 2 years. If it doesn't go well, he'll probably move on after 3 years. So in no world is this a long-term solution, but you got to get somewhere. And it would be a mammoth, fantastic first step.
Yeah, and I'll add this, DMAC, not to because I agree with everything you just said. CU football is in such a bad place where you can't worry about 3 years from now. CU has two winning seasons in 16 years, and one of them was the COVID year. It wasn't even a full season. So you're talking about one full season of winning football. The last thing you can be worried about is what's going on down the road. You hope it's a stepping stone, because if it's a stepping stone, that means Prime had success at CU.
The other thing that you get here is, not only kids that are playing for him now at Jackson State, but you're going to get kids from, Texas, University of Texas and Texas A&M and these other big schools that maybe they're not playing right now or whatever the case may be. They're looking to transfer for whatever reason. And they're like, oh, Deion just went to CU. Man, he did a great job at Jackson State. Let me go to Boulder and play for Deion Sanders. So it's not only kids that are playing for him now, it's kids all across the country that will all of a sudden want to go to CU once they enter the transfer portal.
And in addition to what he just said, maybe there was kids that liked Deion that just didn't feel comfortable going to Jackson State because it wasn't a high enough level. Like now you're going to the Pac-12. That's much different than the SWAC. So I think that you're going to uncover another layer of kid that maybe really liked Deion and wanted to play for Deion, but just wasn't going to go to Jackson State.
6 years of bad NFL football, guys. You just said it, Zach. 16 years for the Buffs of this. I've been there for all of it. It's been really rough. And also, put some respect on Pitbull's name. It's not Mr. International. It's Mr. Worldwide. And speaking of worldwide, we've got the World Cup. Are you guys going to have the game on in the background during your show? Are you getting into this? What's the deal?
U.S. got to win. They have to win. This is such a huge game for so many different reasons. We'll definitely be having it on. And it's a huge, huge game. You got to beat Iran. You just got to do it. I mean, that's the bottom line. You can't lose this game. You can't have a draw. You got to advance. You know who we're playing. I mean, there's so many storylines here besides just playing a soccer match. You got to take care of business.
If we can't beat Iran, then let's just take the next World Cup off. Seriously,
in the U.S.
Next World Cup's here.
We can't take it off.
We're going to do a stay-at-home order. If you can't beat Iran today, what are we doing?
I mean, time out, Zach. Be careful how you pronounce the name of the country. We got a very
Iran.
We got a snobby reporter out there wanting to correct guys on the U.S. men's national team. That video is outrageous. Talk about throwing stones in a glass house. First of all, the reporter wants to correct how he pronounces the name of the country, which is just rude, and then wants to throw out things about human rights violations about the United States, and you work for Iran? Okay, pal. Why don't we just keep it to soccer, dude, and stay off that? I thought the U.S. and Jake, you'll know. I thought the U.S. player was
Tyler Adams
beautifully, but I thought that was such a wildly inappropriate exchange from that reporter to that player.
Well, it goes beyond just soccer. So it was a great answer. I mean, to me, I see an I say Iran. That's just, that's just how you pronounce the damn name. And that's just the way we're going to pronounce it. Iran.
Oh, no. Okay.
Well, I hear Stoke and Zach, and I know that means 11-2 on 104.3 The Fan. And I know it's going to be some in-game fun.
USA Soccer.
Yeah, USA Soccer just turned that basketball into a soccer ball today. I know it's going to be some in-game fun from you guys. I know I'm going to hear some fist pumps over the radio if that happens. So make sure you tune into Stoke and Zach as soon as coffee break ends. We will talk to you guys next week here for your weekly spot.
All right.
Love it.
Thanks,
Y'all
guys.
take care.
See ya.
Thanks, guys. Make sure you do Santa's Little Helpers. Your chance to win $1,000 shopping spree to the Cherry Creek Shopping Center with Stoke and Zach. Fun stuff. I always love chatting with those guys. And D-Mac, before we
Who
get
was
into
that, Jake? Who was that player, by the way? I don't know. I'm not really caught up on things. I just saw that today.
I said it, but it didn't make its way over the internet to you. Tyler Adams. He's the captain of the U.S. men's national team. And, on that, it's one of those things with a world sporting event where it's impossible to avoid politics and these discussions. And honestly, it's been kind of surprising to see how the lack of briefing that had been done to the U.S. men's national team and the staffing around it comparatively to, the smart protest that the German soccer team has done and some of the other soccer teams around the world. But we don't need to get into that right now. That's for BBC Sport and other places to cover. Before we get into trivia, though, I did want to get some Nugget stuff in because they looked pretty solid last night against the Rockets. Really nice second half. I was watching on the plane ride home. You were there at Ball Arena. I think that was Jamal Murray's best game. It was his highest scoring output of the season thus far.
I asked Michael Malone after the game about what levels can you is this it for Jamal? Is he there? And I thought Michael Malone gave a fascinating answer where he said no, that Jamal can be in better physical basketball shape and he can play better defensively and rebound better. That there's another level and that he expects Jamal to get to that all NBA level. So despite a fantastic night, which makes Jokic look like a genius, because Jokic said that Jamal would suck for 20 games, and on game 20 of the season, only the 16th game for Jamal, but on game 20th of the season, Jamal Murray, by far, by a mile, had his best game. But talking to Jamal about it afterwards, he admitted he can be on another level, and then he very slyly commented to the muggles in attendance, I can score. Hey, you guys, I can score you guys. Like, I can score the ball. Like, that's not a problem. So the level of confidence with Jamal that he can actually do this is extremely high. I think as fans of the Nuggets and fans of Jamal, we were more worried about it than Jamal. And even Jokic, who's got to be the smartest basketball guy in the world. I mean, not only is he the best player, but his basketball IQ is, Jake, it's off the charts. He realized that Jamal would need 20 games, which is an amazing prediction when you think about it. Like, why 20? Why that amount? And you never know with Jokic if he's joking or not joking with certain things. I think it's a little bit of both. So when he said 20, he's going to suck for 20 games, well, that sounds like a joke to me and you. I think that's just Jokic's way of literally telling you exactly that in a more blunt way of how long it was going to take. Like, he could have said, hey, it'll probably take about a quarter of the season for him to really feel like himself. No, Jokic just said he's going to suck for 20 games. And in game 20 of the season, Jamal Murray was fantastic with the expectations to get better. And with 19 of their next 27 games at home, Jake, including another home game against Houston on Wednesday, you could see a serious run happening for these Nuggets.
Yeah, they survived the illnesses. They survived some of the injuries, and they're still towards the top of the West. So, there were some tough games in there and some games that made you question some things, and their defense is still struggling. But it looks like they're continuing to build on every single game. And one thing I will say real quick before you get back in here, D-Mac, is with Nikola, I talked to some people in the Nuggets organization recently, and they seem to think that Nikola's being serious a lot more often than we believe, but it's so refreshing to hear the honesty and not the BS from an athlete that we all take it as a joke, even though he's not joking. Like the Sombor shuffle, he recently said, the reason I do that shot is because I have no other options. That was not a joke. He was being 100% serious, but it sounds like it's a joke.
Well, I think first of all, the intelligence that it just takes to speak two different languages is beyond my comprehension, okay? But I think one of the things that you get when you have a different second language, whatever it is, I think you do cut to the quick. I think you are probably a little bit more blunt and honest because you can only maybe you can only really think that way. There's no other way to really hide things. And I think Jokic he is such a joy and an amazing guy, intelligent, funny, well-skilled. I can't speak highly enough about Nikola Jokic. So if he's being just a little bit more blunt and a little bit more honest, and it's just striking us as humor, it's probably because in our culture, we're not used to it. We're especially in sports, it's like, it's funny because it's refreshing and it catches us off guard. So, hey, all praise to Nikola Jokic and being honest, which is all we really want. And if it comes off as a little bit humorous, Jake, frankly, that's probably on us much more than Jokic.
Yeah, and speaking of humor, speaking of facts, we've got trivia. It's Trivia Tuesday. We're going to welcome in Andrew Mason and Will Peterson. Of course, you guys in the crowd can join us as well. Go to kahoot.it, enter in the game pin 479-8932. I'll let these guys do it, but I'll let you get on the hit. It is soccer trivia today because it's a day about soccer here in this country. Mace, Will, we had to move our meeting online because we're watching the game from home, all three of us, right?
I don't know if that's why we moved it, but
wait a second. What? Wait. What?
Okay, last night on the group text, I brought up the fact that our meeting is normally at 1 p.m. Mountain and that it would be directly conflicting with USA versus Iran. So, everybody was kind enough to go along with my suggestion that we postpone the meeting until after this Titanic monumental match is done.
Wait, I'm stunned. A group of people that would prefer to work from home chose today to work from home? I can't believe it. I'm flabbergasted.
What are you talking about? I'm in the studio with you like 4 times a week. And I'm going to be in the studio tonight with Will.
Yeah, D-Mac, I'll see you at the end of your show tonight.
Yeah. Come on, man.
Make sure
all right.
I'll be driving in through that 2.5 inches of snow at 5 o'clock. You don't worry, D-Mac.
No. I'm just laughing because who knew in the United States of America, a game on Qatarian pitch would be a reason to stay home on a snowy day.
We got soccer fever, baby.
We got soccer fever in U.S., and let's see you guys get soccer fever as well. Make sure you go to kahoot.it, enter in that game pin. We'll wait just another minute.
I'm trying to get in. It says see your nickname on screen, and
you're in, Mace. You're in.
I mean, I see Mace. Is that you or is that
I'm there? Then that's me. Yeah, that's me. Like the dog with a ball cap on. Yeah, that's me.
I sadly have computer issues today, fellas, and I can participate in spirit, but not online. But I will mock those who get the questions wrong, and I will blurt out answers whether they're true or false.
Well, we got one more. I'll give it another second. Will, we're going to have you on tomorrow, and I know we're going to talk about your column tomorrow as well, but give us a little preview so people can read it ahead of tomorrow's show about what they should be checking out on denverfan.com.
Well, I got to give a hat tip to our guy, Tom Green, 9 News anchor, former sports guy. He was the one who pointed out yesterday that in the last 6 seasons, the Rockies have a better winning percentage in all 6 than the Broncos. And so it sort of inspired this column that, listen, the Rockies are the punching bag of Denver sports, but right now not historically. That's what people are already getting wrong about this. Not historically, but right now, the Broncos are the most embarrassing franchise in Denver out of the Big Four. And I dive into it with a lot of different reasons, particularly this last one, which was they didn't make a change yesterday. And that's a very Rockies move to not change anything. That's what Dick Monfort's done for years. And I thought they had a big opportunity to make a change yesterday, appease the fan base, and it was status quo. So it's going to get worse. That's the thing, is people keep saying rock bottom, rock bottom. Well, they're going to lose to the Ravens. They're going to lose to the Chiefs. So 3-10 is certainly coming after 3-8.
I have a compliment. I have a compliment for Mace, but first I'm going to compliment Jeff Legwold, who took exception with the quote that Nathaniel Hackett had yesterday, that we tried everything. And Jeff Legwold, upon rewatching the game, went back and saw, no, that's not true. I mean, you barely tried anything at all, never mind everything. And for Andrew, so good for Jeff Legwold for pointing that contradiction out. And Andrew Mason, I saw, I think it was ESPN, a power ranking. I saw one power ranking. My guy Mace found like 5 power rankings. And it was good to see a collection of thought. And almost all of the thought were the Broncos were the second worst team in the NFL, Mace.
Oh, I know. And really, if not for week 2 against Houston, they would be the worst. That game, that crappy game that the Broncos eked out, is all that's separating them from being bottom of the league. And having them, and imagine that if they'd lost that game, they'd be sitting on the number 1 pick.
Yeah, this is crazy, because if it does continue like this, the Seahawks will have the number 2 overall pick in the draft. I mean, if we just keep bottoming out like this, that is fascinating for them, because with the great year that Geno Smith has had, do you take a quarterback? I mean, you'll be in a position to do it. Most of the mocks have quarterbacks going 1-2. It's a fascinating situation for the Seahawks to be in.
I'm going to cut you guys off to get back to trivia. I wrote about that today also on denverfan.com, and I know Mace is writing on denverfan.com about the power rankings. So check that all out. We'll have more on the Broncos tomorrow. But we gotta get over to the pitch. We gotta get over to the other football. So let's start this trivia. You guys ready? You feeling confident? Soccer trivia.
Not at all.
Great.
Zero confidence.
Christian Pulisic. Pele.
This one I actually did know, though, because the reason it didn't happen, now that we're out of time, was a very embarrassing loss to Trinidad and Tobago.
True.
Yeah, but we had to take on 2 countries at the same time. That's not fair.
It's a good
Working
point.
from home, Will, good start.
Pele.
Here. What is the U.S. men's national team's best finish at the World Cup?
Round of 6, 3rd place. By the way, I heard a conversation like, if the U.S. won the World Cup, it wouldn't increase the popularity of soccer. If the U.S. men won the World Cup, it would be one of the most insane sporting events ever. It absolutely would bolster soccer in the United States of America if they won it. Sadly, it's different with the women and the men, and I don't think that's necessarily right. I just think that's kind of just the truth.
Well, the U.S. men's national team did finish 3rd place in the first ever World Cup in 1930.
What happened since then?
Not much. Not many.
Well, the
good
Great
things.
Depression, World War II, Vietnam, Korea. Not much.
Name, in terms of soccer, D-Mac, name the Colorado on this year's U.S. men's national team World Cup roster.
I know
this
this one.
Arapahoe High School.
Shout out Arapahoe High School.
He's
Here
a
we
goalie
go.
who will never play.
Everyone's
My
looking
name's
good.
there.
All right, quiz. Which of the
Pele.
following official U.S. men's national team nicknames? So there's multiple answers.
Oh, my God. The Reds. Can't be the Reds.
All right, looking good. The Reds is Canada, D-Mac.
Oh, that's not what I was thinking.
So Mason texted that he can't hear us, but he's kicking our butts. So, yeah, FYI.
Well,
Sounds
he's
like a
locked
Mace
in.
problem.
And what years will America host the World Cup? So there's multiple answers on this one.
Next
as well.
time. Where's next time?
Okay, looking good, looking good.
Oh, there was multiple answers. I went with 90 and 26, but it only accepted 90.
Oh, well, I guess one or the other works as well, but yeah. So
Yeah,
Boy,
you
Mace is
threw me
awful
off with your
quiet.
hosting.
This is
Normally,
my
I give
first-
Rachel a hard time, but today I'm gonna give you a hard time.
yeah, this is my first time using Kahoot, so benefit of the doubt. But yeah, I deserve it after giving Rachel a hard time. How about this? Who's the Rapids leading goal?
Marcelo Balboa. It's got to be Cello. He's my guy. He's the only guy who knows me on the Rapids. Cello.
It's Connor Casey.
Ah!
Another local. And then this one is for fun. You can do any answer you want. Who is the best American soccer player of all time?
Pele.
Well, I gotta go.
Where's Mia Hamm?
Well, I was doing men's.
Doesn't say men.
I should. That's my mistake because I do that distinction a lot.
Wow.
Yeah, that is me being really,
wow.
really yeah. I'm embarrassed.
That is not good.
I think Mace won.
Let's find out. We got a lot of love for Tim Howard, which is cool to see. Former Colorado Rapids goalkeeper.
I would say Rudy and Richie Pikuzinski. They played for the Buffalo's indoor team when I was in Buffalo. The Pikuzinski brothers. They were awesome. Look them up. They're real people.
We got Mace followed by Rachel. This was a Mace Rachel trivia fest to win. Mace, you can hear us now?
Now I can hear you. Yeah, I just didn't want to disconnect because you can't see the questions unless you're actually on the connection, right? Because that's why I was delayed in the true false one because I couldn't see the question because my connection went out.
All right, what's all of our soccer backgrounds here? Playing time. Everybody plays soccer. At what age did you stop?
I played
14.
about a minute of AYSO soccer, and then I was the beat writer for the Denver Post. And actually, it's a great story. While you guys come up with your answers. So they called me, and they said, hey, Jake, we got an opportunity at the Denver Post. And I said,
wait, how old are you?
This was when I was like 22. I was just out of college. And I had freelanced some prep stuff for them. And they said, hey, we're thinking about hiring a Colorado Rapids beat writer. We want a soccer beat writer. We want to invest in soccer. And they go, how much do you know about soccer? And I said, everything. I know a lot. And this was Matt Stevens, former sports editor of the Post, who was on the phone. He goes, great. When can you start? I said, tomorrow, maybe next week, whenever you need me. So he's like, great, you got the gig. So I hang up the phone, call my buddy Chase, who's a big soccer fan. I go, hey, Chase, I'm the beat writer for the Post covering soccer. Can you teach me everything you know about soccer? I've only watched one soccer game in my life, which was the Tim Howard performance against Belgium. So I end up going and covering the Rapids, and I walk into the press box, and there's a very nice gentleman in his mid-40s, mid-50s, about, middle-aged, and I'm getting lunch before a game. And I'm trying to figure out, there's one other person in the press box who knows soccer that I know. And I'm talking to him, and I'm talking to this middle-aged man. And my friend leaves, and I'm talking to this middle-aged man over and over. And we're just going through like kind of the stuff in the game. And I'm just asking him questions, and it's clear I don't know anything. I walk away, great conversation. Someone goes, Jake, do you know who you were just talking to about soccer? Who is teaching you soccer? And I said, no idea. It's like, that's the best men's national team defender of all time. That's Marcelo Balboa. I'm like, oh, I had no idea who that was.
That's my guy, Cello. Oh, so he's such a great dude, man. That's awesome. That is a great story.
So there you go.
I played soccer until I was like 12 or 13. I was the A-team goalie at Littleton United, which, the soccer clubs, Real, Littleton, Storm, Rush, whatever. And I got cut from the A team, and rather go play for the B team, I took my bag and I went home.
Played until I was 14. I was a left back. And then
Captain,
don't forget my mother's English,
of my
so
high
I grew up
team,
with it. Yeah.
Captain of my high school team, all Cape Ann, 1987.
Wow.
Boom. Scored varsity goals in high school. Yo. Camp counselor at Phillips Andover Academy. Here's a fun story. I didn't play in college. I wanted to do this silly stuff. I found out later I probably was good enough to play in college, but I like baseball more anyway. I coach at a camp. I'm a counselor. And all the kids who are there play in college. but they play at lower division places. But they actually are all better than me, way better than me, and they play in college. So we all have to introduce ourselves. So it's like John Smith, Essex Aggie, Tim Reynolds, Salem State. And I got to, because we were just announcing our schools, I got to say Darren McKee, Syracuse University. So there's no doubt I gave away the false impression that I was a Division I soccer player at Phillips Andover Academy. Zero doubt about it.
Well done. Well done.
Nice.
Awesome. And I,
Fake
of course,
it till you make it.
A legend of the Steamboat youth scene. DMAC.
Hey, I don't know what record book this would be in, but you are correct. Great memory. I scored the first goal in 1977 ever in the history of Steamboat Springs Youth Soccer. They hadn't had a youth program. I was in third grade, and we were playing in Glenwood Springs. And we just never had a team before, and I scored the first goal. So you're welcome, Steamboat.
Do you still have the ball or anything, or the goal, like any memento?
They did put a statue of me up on Mount Werner.
Oh, there you go. Nice. Well earned.
So I got that.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully we get
the name of the ski run is called Lucky Shot.
Because it was named after your goal.
That's
There you go.
There you go.
Lucky Shot.
Well, hopefully we get a couple lucky shots today in the U.S. men's national team game versus Iran.
Oh, not quite.
Iran. Yes.
Iran.
Get it
Had
right.
correction yesterday.
As Tyler Adams said, it's all about learning, and this is a process. So as long as we're progressing.
Really quick, if Christian Pulisic does not score, will that
Pulisic?
be a choke job for him not to score in the World Cup?
Pulisic.
Whatever. Mile long, 3 inches deep.
Yes, it'll be a choke job if Pulisic goes scoreless.
He's got to score a goal in the World Cup, right?
Yeah, but this is going to be a really tough game versus Iran. They do park the bus. They're a really good defensive team.
Park the bus.
You're laying the groundwork for an excuse, Jake.
I hear it.
We need to get a win today, and if we don't, they don't advance, and we'll all forget about soccer for the next 4 years.
Wow.
There you go. That sounds like somebody who played till he was 12.
Yes.
It sounds someone who plays the other type of football. Anyways,
it's show me time, baby. Get a win.
I get it. Let's go.
For Andrew Mason, Will Peterson, and DMAC, I am
Captain DMAC.
Captain DMAC of the Andovers. What was it?
No. Ipswich High School. I worked at Phillips Andover Academy. I mean, it's not that complicated. Scored the first goal for Steamboat Springs Youth Soccer. Duh.
So now you're the station's hockey or soccer guy. You're not just the hockey
I
guy,
guarantee
you're the
you
soccer guy.
I am better at soccer than anybody at the radio station. 1,000%. Guarantee it. Guarantee it.
I gotta think Nate Jackson's good at soccer. He
No
gives me
way.
good
I
soccer
would,
vibes.
you see, you don't know this about me. You're learning things about me. I would school anybody on the station on the pitch. But and I'm telling you, my criticisms of soccer come from a place where I played my whole life. It's a place of self-realization about the problems the sport actually has. And so it's not without knowledge of the sport or experience with the sport. I can recognize the issues that's what drives me nuts about soccer. When everybody heaps praises on the beautiful game and they've never even played. I don't even know why they care. I think it's just to be different and to wear a scarf.
Scarves are pretty cool.
The scarves are awesome. He's 2 o'clock on 104.3 The Fan later today. They are 6 to 7 p.m. On 104.3 The Fan, Denver PM edition. Make sure you check that out. Andrew Mason, Will Peterson, DMAC, Brandon Stokely, Zach Bye, Connor Orr, Rachel Vigil behind the scenes. We will see you tomorrow on Coffee Break. Thank you for joining us, and we'll catch you later.